Hello aspirants, welcome back to SRIRAM's IAS YouTube channel. So friends, in today's discussion, let us try to understand one important concept, that is India's demographic mission. So friends, this topic is in news since the Independence Day. So this topic is relevant from most of the papers' point of view. Say, for example, from General Studies 1, in society, you will have to study about the concept of population and associated issues. So there, this topic would be relevant. And then, if you see from the perspective of paper 2, so in governance and related issues, you may have so many policies and programs that are being implemented by the government. So there also it would be relevant. And then if you see from paper 3 point of view, so here also again with respect to border security, so internal security, there you can have the relevance of this particular topic. So that's one thing. And not only this, like those who are having optional subjects, per se for example geography optional, they are also in human geography. You will have to understand this concept from current perspective. Then like if you talk from the polity, PSIR, or like anthropology, and even anthropology, you can have the relevance of this particular topic. So let's move further and let's try to understand about this topic in a systematic fashion. So friends, in this video, we are going to discuss about various aspects, like let's say what is demographic mission. So first we have to understand that. Then like what is the context of this particular thing, why it is in news. So that is also we have to understand. And apart from that, we also have to understand, is there any real need to just launch the demographic mission? So that is one thing. And then what are the various challenges that are there in front of us before launching this particular mission? So let us try to explore all such kind of important and interesting aspects. So first, let us begin with the basic aspect, that what is demographic mission? So in very simple fashion to say, or in a nutshell to say what is a demographic mission. So demographic mission is nothing but it's a national population management framework. So you all know that India is one of the vast country with huge population. So they say India is a nation with more than 1.4 billion people. So it's very important to manage this population in systematic fashion. So demographic mission is nothing but such a kind of national population management framework. So try to remember it in the very nutshell. So we have understood what is it in general. So what is it? How can we define it? So let's try to see, or like what is the demographic mission and that related aspect. So if you see from the perspective of what is demographic mission, so if you look from that perspective, so demographic mission is a proposed national initiative. So recently this initiative has been proposed. So that is one thing. So there you can see what is the basic aim of it. So this initiative is aimed at monitoring, managing, analyzing India's demographic transitions. So we have to analyze the India's demographic transitions. So not only analyzing the demographic transitions, so this mission is also intended to monitor it and manage it. So that is one thing. And what are those demographic transitions that we have? So if you see in any nation or in a country, so demographic transitions will be there. So say for example, fertility. So what about the fertility rate? So that could be one demographic transition. And mortality, that is death rate. So that could be one another demographic transition. Then migration of the people. So inward migration or outward migration, that is immigration and emigration. So that could be one thing. Then population distribution. So how population has been distributed. So age-wise. So we have different pyramids of age. So try to just remember and recollect all of those things. So this mission is intended to analyze such kind of demographic transitions. Is that it clear? Now, look at this. So what is the chief aim of it? So this demographic transition is aimed to do this thing. And what is the objective? Means it is to ensure balanced growth and security and stability. So this is the another important aspect that you have to remember. So this is what basically a demographic mission. So that has been proposed. So it's a proposed national initiative. So that's one thing that we have to remember. Now, after understanding what is demographic mission, then let us try to see why this particular aspect, that is demographic mission, is in news, or what is the basic context why it is in news and why we are going to study this. So we are studying the concept of demographic mission in the wake of an article that has been very recently published in the Hindu, that is, the real need is a holistic demographic mission. So the article reads out like that. So here we have to understand what is the need behind launching the demographic mission. So this is one important aspect that we have to understand. So on this context, we are going to just have a session on this particular topic, that is demographic mission. But what about its background context? So we have got, like we are saying that there is a real need. So what is the background context? If you look from the perspective of background context, so just look here, dears, like in his Independence Day 2025 address, Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, so announced on the launch of high-powered demographic mission. So he announced a high-powered demographic mission. So that was the background context. So in August, it has been done. So then what has happened? So later on, very recently, so the concept of demographic mission again surfed in the news. Okay. So now look at it. So it is a strategic initiative to counter illegal infiltration and address India's evolving demographic challenges. So that's the basic context, so why we are studying about it. So let's try to understand about this much, and then the mission seeks to blend national security with the inclusive human development. So this is one another thing. So let's try to understand these points in the aims and objectives of that. So I hope you have got the clarity regarding the aspect of why this particular thing is in news and what was the basic context of it. Is that clear? So now let us try to have a look into other aspects. So you can see here, like Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has announced it. So that is one thing. Then you can, we have to understand what are the basic aims and objectives of the mission. So what are the aims and objectives? So we have to know them because we have to understand it in a systematic fashion. So now let us try to just do that. So if you see from the perspective of the aims and objectives of the mission, so Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced to launch this mission in the way that to curb illegal infiltration. So there was a rising issue of illegal infiltration from the from our borders. So to curb it. So that is one important objective and aim. And then to safeguard the border regions from the demographic distortions. So usually border regions. So border regions are basically they are subjected to demographic distortions. So many people will illegally infiltrate and they will migrate to India. So when they migrate, so usually there could be some changes in the system. So that would be one thing. So to safeguard the border regions from such kind of distortions, that is one another objective. Then look at this. So to promote a holistic understanding of India's population dynamics and across the social, economic and human development dimensions. So this is another important object. So simply promoting a holistic understanding of India's population dynamics. That means, like, what about the mortality? What about the natality? What about the various factors that are affecting India's demographic statistics? So that's one thing, is the one another objective of it. Then if you look at this, to develop national demographic intelligence system. So this is another important strategy, another important aim. So developing a demographic intelligence system. So for what? For evidence-based policy making and inclusive governance. So this is another important aim and objective. So aims and objectives are abstract things. So we should just have a glance of them. So that is one thing. So now we have just gone through the aims and objectives also. So after going through the aims and objectives, let us try to understand what are the key features of the mission. So when we look from the perspective of the demographic mission announced very recently, so there are certain features of the mission. So if we look from the perspective of the features of the mission, so the national, it is aimed to establish, first thing, that is establishing a national commission on demographic assessment and migration management. So the mission intends to establish one such kind of commission. So this commission, we have so many commissions, National Commission on, let's say for example, scheduled castes, National Commission on scheduled tribes, National Commission on other backward classes. So we have so many national commissions. So in the similar fashion, so this mission aims to establish such kind of national commission on a particular aspect, that is demographic assessment and migration management. So this is one thing. So why this commission is required? So we have multiple committees in the governance. So in order to integrate them and coordinate them, so to coordinate the interministerial actions related to demography. So that is one important aspect. So we are using the word demography. So what do you mean by demography? Demography is basically nothing but when you try to describe the characteristics of population of a particular region. So that description of various characteristics of a population, that basically refers to demography. Is that it clear? So now look at the second feature. So actually this mission is also aims for real-time monitoring of the demographic activities. So in order to just have real-time demographic monitoring, so we are going to use satellite mapping, and we are going to use big data analytics, and we are also going to use the digital census tools. So that is another key feature of this particular mission. Is that clear? And then look at the next thing. So next thing it is that integration of the demographic indicators. What are the demographic indicators? We have already just saw. So they are nothing but the aspects like mortality, natality, that is birth rate and death rate and migration, and all such kind of things are nothing but demographic indicators. So with education and with health, with skill building, aging and labor monitoring data. So these are all nothing but one another key feature. So then if you see like linking demographic insights with the border security and regional development planning. So this is another important feature. So we are intended to link the demographic insights with the border security. So once we get the insights about the demographic aspects, so we have to link them with the border security so that we can take stringent actions to curb various illegal infiltrations or so many issues that are prevailing at the border region. So that is one another important objective. Is that it clear? Now look at this. So we have understood the key features of the mission. Now let us try to understand the next aspect, that like what are the reasons that we require the demographic mission. So let's look into this aspect, which is very, very important. Why does India need a demographic mission? So this is the major quest of our discussion. So this is in fact why we need to have a real need, why there is a real need to launch a demographic mission. So let's try to have it. So now if you see from the perspective of the reasons or why we require it, so first and foremost thing, so we need to create a national demographic intelligence framework. So India is a huge country, vast country with more population. So in order to manage the population effectively, so we need to have the national demographic intelligence framework. So that is first thing, first reason why we should go for this particular mission. And then if you see, to address the issue of human capital inequality. So in India, if you see, there is huge inequality amongst the human capital. So we need to fix this issue of inequalities that are prevailing among human capital. So that is one another important aspect. Then look at this. So to manage the migration and mobility effectively. So managing the migration and managing the mobility at the borders, it is very, very important. So we have to effectively handle the issues that are arising out of such kind of cross-border migration. So that is one thing. Then to reap the fruits of demographic dividend. So friends, if you see from the perspective of India, so India is on the verge of its demographic dividend. So we have to untap the potential of the youth so that we can just take the growth and development of India to higher levels. So in order to reap the fruits of demographic dividend, we should understand and we should launch the demographic mission, which again it is intended to study about various demographic patterns and aspects. So that's one thing. Then the next thing, to strengthen the border security, this is very, very, very important aspect. So nowadays there were so many issues that we can able to see in the news. So it could be from the Pakistan side, it could be from the China side in the northeast, and it could be from other nations. So we are facing some of the threats, border threats. So in order to have such kind of to counter such kind of things, we have to strengthen the border security. That is one another key aspect. So that's the reason. Like, these are the important reasons why we require the demographic mission. Is that clear? Now, let us try to understand what are the challenges that are there with us before launching this particular mission. So if you see from the perspective of the challenges that are there, so friends, try to understand this, that so there is a huge data deficiency with us. So till now we do not know how many of them have migrated into India. We do not have exact data. So there is a large data deficiency. So that is one thing. Then if you see, there are so many regional disparities with respect to demographic transitions. So each and every state, so India is a huge country where we can have different states. So there, each and every state has its own demographic patterns. Be it could be the fertility, be it could be the natality, be it could be the mortality, like that. So this regional disparity could also be one important challenge that could be there in front of us. Then political sensitivities. So whenever we are going to do anything, so there would be some sort of political activities. So political agitations will start. So like, even if you can also think what has happened in the Northeast. So when we were launching the National Register of Citizens, NRC, so at the time, like, there were so many political agitations that went on. So in the similar fashion, there could be some instances of political sensitivities. So that is one another important aspect that you have to keep in mind. And then look at this. So aging burden. So India also has experiencing some sort of aging burden in the coming up time. So that is one another important aspect. Then capability divide. So how to just divide the various human capacities. So that is one another important challenge. So these are all nothing but important challenges that are there in front of us before launching the demographic mission. So we have to understand them, and we have to just overcome all these kind of challenges and issues. So friends, now let us try to see how we can overcome these particular challenges. So what is the way forward to overcome from such kind of issues? So if we talk from demographic transition, so first and foremost thing that we have to do is that we should launch a national commission on the population and migration. So once we launch the commission, then the commission will look into various aspects, because first and foremost thing is that we have to begin. So a good beginning is nothing but half done. So first thing we have to do is we have to launch the commission, and we have to establish the commission. Once we establish, then things will sit on. So that's one thing. Then the next thing is that we should develop a comprehensive human capability index. So we have said that capability is one another important, capability divide is one another important challenge. To overcome that, so we have to develop a human capability index, so which rests on various parameters to analyze the human capital. So that is one thing. Then if you see, comprehensive demographic mapping has to be done. So comprehensive demographic mapping must be done in India, because without doing this, it is very much difficult for us to just proceed with the demographic mapping. So I hope you're clear with this also. Then, last but not the least, so we have to enact national migration policy. So national migration policy should be observed and should be enacted in India, so that we can effectively manage the issues surrounding the migration. So that's one another important aspect. So that's with respect to the way forward, or how we can just overcome this situation, or how we can overcome the challenges that are there with us. So friends, these are all nothing but some of the important aspects that we should remember from the context of the demographic mission. So I hope this concept is clear to you. So try to just summarize the concept from all these perspectives and try to incorporate some other points to this particular aspect. So that's it from my side for the day. So that's all for the day from my side. So just have a conclusion of this kind. So just if you see from the India's demographic mission, so it should evolve into a human-centric national project. So what is a human-centric national project? So when we say, so the one that studies population not as a burden, but population as a foundation for the future prosperity. So this is one thing that we have to make it. That's how we have to evolve it. And then as the demographic infiltration unfolds, transition unfolds, India must convert its youth energy into productivity. So that is one another thing. So we should use demographic mission for this purpose and manage the migration humanely. So we should be able to manage the concept of migration, issue of migration in a humane manner, and then prepare for the aging gracefully. So that's how, that should be the major quest with respect to demographic mission. So that's it from my side for the day. So let's meet in another session with another important topic. So till then, take care. Thank you all.